Last week, the S&P 500 climbed 1.50%. The Nasdaq was up 2.6%, and the Dow Jones added 0.5%. U.S. stock prices were volatile last week, absorbing mixed inflation and retail data from the U.S., amid some relief that fresh U.S. trade tariffs won't be implemented until April. Crude oil prices fell after Ukraine and Russia agreed to take part in talks, following pressure from the United States. Natural gas prices jumped on seasonal demand for the commodity. Gold and silver prices jumped as the precious metal stormed to another all-time peak, following the threat of renewed conflict in the Middle East. Platinum rose to record a more than 3-month high, while palladium also climbed as traders continued to factor in tariffs and reciprocal tariffs on metals and the impact of global prices. Wednesday's release of Fed meeting minutes will be among the highlights this week, but the primary focus is likely to remain on statements and policy moves from U.S. President Trump and his top officials. Reports suggest that U.S. Secretary of State Rubio will travel to Saudi Arabia to meet with top Russian officials, ahead of a potential top-level meeting between Presidents Putin and Trump in the same country. NVIDIA's stock price jumped 6.32% to rise to a 3-week high by close of business on Friday. The recent move higher came after big tech companies such as Google, a major customer of NVIDIA chips, stated it would spend around $75 billion on AI this year. The chip company continues to dominate the AI market amid strong demand for chips. Upon the recent release of the latest Blackwell chips in January, the company is expected to outperform expectations when it declares its earnings results on February 26th. Snowflake's stock price increased 0.33% and recorded a 1-year peak, before pairing some gains by Friday's close. The AI-linked cloud data company has benefited from strong adoption of its AI/machine learning features, and its partnerships with companies like Microsoft have boosted the company. Last week, Snowflake rose after investment banks including Barclays upgraded their forecasts on its stock price, citing company growth. Snowflake will post its earnings on February 25th. Crude oil prices fell 0.82%, declining to a 7-week low after a dismal week pressured the commodity. News of President Trump's apparent success in persuading Ukraine and Russia to engage in negotiations increased the possibility that Western sanctions might be eased upon Russian oil in the near future. U.S. inventories also increased last week, implying that oil demand in the U.S. fell. Gold prices fell by 1.2%, but still managed to record a fresh record high on Tuesday before closing lower by the end of the week. Gold prices were down amid some geopolitical relief following President Trump's delayed announcement of intended fresh tariffs. The tariffs will now likely be implemented in April following study recommendations. The precious metal had also pushed higher after President Trump issued an ultimatum to Hamas to release its remaining hostages by Saturday. Natural gas prices surged just over 9% as weather forecasts predicted much colder than average temperatures over the next week, potentially boosting heating demand. Prices were supported by higher liquid natural gas exports to plants, which boost demand, and also by sharply falling European gas inventories. President Trump has already called upon Europe to purchase more U.S. LNG, and the EU will have to restock its diminishing supplies in the near future. The recent halting of Russian gas transit through Ukraine is also underpinning gas prices. The GBP-USD pair grew 1.6% to record an almost 2-month high before the end of the week. Sterling was supported by better-than-expected GDP and industrial production data mid-week. Reports early in the week suggesting that President Trump is looking to secure a trade deal with the UK also underpinned the pound. The dollar fell against most of its rivals amid mixed data last week, but trade and tariff news are also dominating the currency markets.